Hey everybody, welcome back. I have a coloring video for you today. I was tagged by Tammy Colors Too to participate in the coloring scare tag. And the originators of this tag were Emma, okay hold on, I had it just a second, I lost it. Emma Colors 2020 and Colorfully Optimistic. So I will link all three of their channels in the description section below. And somebody on Instagram commented to me that some of the women that were doing this tag had their husbands or boyfriends including or like sitting in or coloring or whatever. So I asked Keith if he wanted to answer the questions with me, and he said yes. So I am coloring in Halloween Mandalas by Camellia Angelkova, and this was a whip that I had going, and I thought I would finish it with some gel pens in that, so that's what I'm working on. We had to restart this video because the dog was being super naughty and distracting and everything, so we're going to start over again and see how that goes. Yes, I do have bandages on my hand. I hope that's not too distracting for you. Try to ignore it, or you can consider it part of my Halloween costume, right? You can say my mommy. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I think there's 16 questions. So I'm going to color, and I'm going to let Keith answer the first question, and then I'll go. The first question is, what weapon would you choose if you were in The Walking Dead? I have to pretend I don't know what you're going to say, right? Even though we already filmed this or started it.
Well, guns run out of ammunition, even though like a shotgun would be ideal. Chainsaws run out of gasoline. So if I was to choose a melee weapon, it would be a double-bladed axe.
Very good. Double-bladed axe. I don't know, that's kind of scary, but because you have to get really close with them, but I get your reasoning behind it. I understand that. Also, let me just say this orange flare. These are those flare glitter pens I got from Amazon. This orange one is really pretty. Okay, I actually would pick, I would have, because of the way my hands are, I wouldn't be able to like carry a heavy weapon or swing a heavy weapon. But what I would do is I would make like some type of sleeves that I could put on over my arms that would have like knives or sword blades or some type of weapon that I could just like slip on and lace up and have them attached to my arms.
Interchangeable heads.
Yeah, so that I could just like jab them in the eye and the head and spear them and they'd be dead. Yeah. Just like that. I think that would be good.
Be pretty cool.
I don't think I'd have any problem with it because my arms are pretty strong, so
yes, they are.
I think I'd be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay, number 2. If you were paid to stay the night in a haunted house, would you? And how much would they have to give you?
Yes. Yes, I would. And I don't know, how much do they want to pay me?
Are you cheap? I would, yes, I would also. But like I said before, like if it was like a super well-known haunted house like Amityville, and I had the chance to stay there for a weekend or overnight or something, I would probably pay them to let me because I think that would be super cool. So if they wanted to pay me, I would take it, but it wouldn't have to be any expensive amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
What if you, like, were actually sleeping and then you woke up and there's like a pig in a rocking chair right next to you, talking to you?
I would say, hello, Amy. You know, and I would keep going on my way. I'd be disappointed if something didn't happen like that, if I was finally able to, like, stay in the Amityville house. So,
I always wanted to, especially go to that, the one in Louisville.
Waverly.
Waverly, yeah. I was kind of wanted to check out.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do.
That's not technically a house, though.
No, it's an asylum. But we have Eloise here too, and now they're actually, Eloise is an asylum, and they've turned that into like a haunted attraction, which kind of surprises me. Does it surprise you?
Yeah, it does.
Because Eloise is very well known, if you're into haunted stuff, as being like a haunted asylum that was abandoned, and but the people here, like local people, for the most part, I think hold Eloise as being, they hold it fondly. It wasn't a place where people were mistreated or tortured or anything. Isn't that correct?
That I couldn't tell you. There's a lot of unmarked graves, and that's not meant to be like a sinister ghost hunters type thing, that's just true. There's like a lot of
Mass
graves out
graves.
there, but I don't know that they're actually marked. If they are, it's probably just like lot numbers or something.
But we still have people in this area that have probably lived there and had treatment there because it's not been that long that it's shut down.
But Eloise is well known
For being
for
super
being
haunted.
yeah.
Yeah. And actually, Eloise is right next door to where we got our marriage license. Which kind of was,
Is that a
I was like,
coincidence?
I know, I was like, what? That's kind of weird.
It's
Anyways.
weird that the same day that they released this from Eloise, we got our marriage license.
I know. We walked right across the street, hand in hand. Okay, number 3. What superstition or urban legend do you believe? This is when we were on when we had to shut it off because the dog went out of control.
Well,
Keith had a Clark Griswold moment.
yeah. Well, if you're talking about actual urban legends, this story was always told to have happened down here at Southland Mall, and then, but then years later, when I read this book that we have about urban legends, the story was actually in there. So apparently, it is just an urban legend, but I think it's a
But
plausible.
you were sure it had happened.
Right. It sounds like a very plausible urban legend, but basically a woman comes out of the shopping mall and she has her arms full of bags, and she starts to head towards her car, and she notices the driver's side door is open and there's an old woman sitting in her seat. And as she gets a little bit closer, she doesn't want to get too close, but the old woman sees her, and she says, she goes, I'm sorry. She goes, I was walking through the parking lot here, and I suddenly thought I was going to fall. I became so fatigued that I just tried to find a car door open where I could sit down really quick. And she said, I'm feeling a little better now, but I was just so tired, so I hope you don't mind me sitting here. And the lady that came out of the shopping mall, she goes, oh, no, that's fine. And she goes, well, dear, could you please come over here and help me stand up so I can get my footing, and then I'll be on my way. And, of course, the lady that came out of the mall with the packages, her spider sense is tingling, and she knows that there's something not quite right about the old woman. So she says, sure, I'd be glad to help you, but I just remembered that I left one of my packages sitting on the curb, so stay right here, and I'll be right back. And of course, she hurries back into the mall, and it just so happens to be a security guard that's making his rounds in the hallway there right when she goes in, and she yells at the security guard, explains the situation. They come out, and as the old woman is starting to see the security guard coming, starts to get up and leave, and it's a man dressed up as an old woman sitting on a hatchet. So I had always heard that story to be a true story that happened at the mall, but apparently it's an urban legend that has been passed on. But I think it's still a very plausible, just like I think it's a very plausible story about the people that get their Achilles heel cut by somebody hiding under the car so that they drop and suddenly they're mugged or molested or killed or all together. So
I don't know. I think all urban legends have like some type of root in the truth, so it's kind of hard to say what's true and what's not. But I know some superstitions that I wouldn't say I actually believe them 100%, but I don't want to test them either. And you know what one is funny to me is that 3 on a match. Have you know that one?
No.
That one's not as common, I don't think, but like 3 never light 3 things off the same match, like 3 cigarettes or whatever. And this is the truth, which is kind of funny, but when I love my candles, as you know, but I tend to order the 2-wick candles because the 3-wick candles, I don't like to light all 3 of them off the same match. So I just as soon have a 2-wick candle. Now sometimes if I have a 3-wick, that's when I'll ask you to use that lighter thingy and light them. But I don't like lighting 3 wicks off the same match.
So you you believe there's
I'm-
something
it's-
ominous about it, and you have no problem with me
Right, to have
lighting
you
it.
do it.
But you.
Well, it's a match. It doesn't say it lighter. We got that long candle lighting thingy, but
Well, it would be a flame, though.
I know, but it's just something about it. That's always stuck with me. I can remember my grandpa saying that when I was little. 3 on a match is bad luck, and
Yeah, I have to look up the origins of that one.
even when, because I used to be a smoker, if you guys can believe that, and I used to, like, if I was at a party or with my friends at the bar and everybody was smoking, I didn't want 3 cigarettes lit off the same match or anything like that.
Would you, like, slap the cigarettes out of their faces before they hit you?
That's exactly what I did. I, like, slapped it right out of their mouth. Don't do that! Anyways, okay. Which horror movie did you never get over?
Well, I don't know if, I guess it's a horror movie, but a movie that absolutely disturbed me to no end when I first seen it. And I've only seen it one time, but I never had a desire ever to watch it again, just because it was based on truth, and there's scenes in there, one in particular, that just bothered me so
I know what you're gonna
terrible.
say.
But was a Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. And it's just, considering it was based on reality, and
I've never seen that one.
just as many horror movies and as many horrible things that have happened in horror movies, for some reason, that one particular scene in that movie bothered me to no end, and still bothers me. So
That's Smurl, right, from Walking Dead?
Yeah.
That plays him.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but
It's
because
based
of
on-
you wanting, or because of you, and I know that's how you feel about it, I don't have any interest in seeing it.
it is based on the serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, and his partner in crime, Otis.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Otis's last name is, but he was actually the one that was that had killed Adam Walsh's son, John Walsh's son, Adam.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, but yeah,
Disturbing.
It was a disturbing movie, and a lot of people probably laugh that movie off, but for some reason that one just always resonated with me and bothered me. So
I don't know if there's one I can say I've never gotten over. I don't like The Exorcist, not because it's so scary, but because it's almost borders on obscene to me.
blasphemous.
I'm not comfortable with any movie that really has a lot of religious imagery in it that shows it in like a negative way or whatever. I'm not crazy about that. It bothers me. It disturbs me. But yeah, so The Exorcist is one that I don't really care for watching again and again. Salem's Lot, the miniseries, I saw that on TV. I was young though, and it disturbed me. So I kind of put that one up into it too. But
The original one with David Soul.
Yeah, and you know what? Lovely Molly. We've watched that.
I know that one always bothers you.
We've watched that one a few times, and Lovely Molly is a horror movie that a lot of people don't talk about. And I think I've talked about it before in a video that we did a couple years ago at Halloween time, but Lovely Molly is disturbing. It's about demonic possession and drug addiction, and yeah, that kind of disturbed me. So I would say Lovely Molly too. What is your favorite scary and or Halloween coloring book? You probably don't have an answer for this, do you?
No, but those ones I got the same copies of them that you did, and
The
I am
Beauty
gonna
of Horror books.
yeah, I am gonna color in those because I think those are pretty neat.
Yeah, especially the Tricks or Treats one with the covered. I wanted to do a color and chat with us. We could still do it. Doesn't have to be at Halloween time. Of the one of the pumpkin guy on the covered bridge, because it reminds me of Greenfield Village.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably my Deborah Miller books, just because they're so much fun to color in. I really like them a lot. All of her Halloween books. I look forward to her putting out new Halloween books every year. Super fun.
Well,
So-
hers are very whimsical, right? With
Sometimes, and they're funny. Yeah, they're not like super dark,
Yeah.
gory, or any. But if they have gore, they're funny, gory. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Kind of. You can scold them. It's okay. No one's gonna think we're bad dog
He's
parents.
he ain't doing anything.
Okay.
He's rolling around on the couch.
Okay.
Oh, I know. The other Halloween coloring book I love so much is the Coloring Heaven edition of the Ines Guerrero one, because her work is super dark and I really like it. But I haven't colored in it yet. But I really, really like the way it looks. I like it. I like that a lot. So, okay, what is the scariest book you've ever read?
Oh,
I'm gonna do green. No,
I don't know.
I'm talking to myself over here.
I don't really know at the moment.
Well, I'll go and you can think.
I'll tell you
Oh,
one that,
okay.
I can't even remember what her last name is. I used to read a lot of those, pulp paperbacks and stuff. The ones you get like at drugstores and stuff back in the 80s especially. Remember you got me that book all about those?
Yeah.
But a lot of them I was sold on the cover, and the books didn't turn out to be nearly as good as the cover. But
Well, we read and have read a lot of horror because we're horror people. Not horrible people, but horror people. And I have a few, but I think probably there's two that I know particularly that scared me. The first one that came to mind was Summer of Night by Dan Simmons.
oh yeah, that's a great one.
Because that actually made me uncomfortable after I had read parts of it when I read that while I was dating you, because I bought you a copy
Yep.
and gave to you as a gift, and then I'd never read it, so you let me borrow it, and I took it home and I was reading it late at night, and I actually had a hard time sleeping because of the part with the World War I soldier, the ghost of that World War I soldier, whatever it was. That bothered me. It freaked me out. It was scary. And then the other book that really bothered me, surprisingly, which most people wouldn't consider like a traditional horror, is the Stepford Wives. Remember how that really impacted me?
Right.
I read that. That's by Ira Levin, and that's an older book. It was written, in the 60s or probably in the 60s.
Yeah.
And I know everybody knows like what the Stepford Wives are because it's kind of like a joke, But if you ever read that book, I read it right after we were married, and I am obviously still, but even now was so in love with Keith, and reading this book about this woman who loved her husband so much, trusted him implicitly with everything, and she truly believed he had her best interests at heart, and yet here is these men that don't care about their wives, and they will betray them and turn them into robots, basically automatons with no feelings and emotions and anything like that. And it freaked me out as a newlywed. It completely freaked me out. So yeah, I mean, it disturbed me deeply. It really bothered me.
Summer of Night is an absolute classic, though.
Yeah, that one's good.
And I would say, I mean, as far as just like terror, and it also has to do with or preteens or teenagers and everything, just like it, and there's that evil, the ancient evil and everything.
I actually like Summer of Night better than it, I think.
I'll tell you what, though, when I first read it, I couldn't put it down. Same thing with Summer of Night. So that, either one of those, early Stephen King especially, though, was, man, back in the 80s and early 90s, man, I could not get enough of those books. But yeah, Summer of Night, I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to read a good, scary story.
That's a good one.
But then they had a sequel. Dan Simmons wrote a sequel called A Winter Haunting, and I read that one.
It's terrible.
And yeah, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that one's not good.
When they're all grown up and they're so much more likable as kids. So.
Okay, next one. If you could be a scary monster, what one would you be?
Well, I could tell you what a lot of people have told me they thought I would always be
I know.
as a werewolf.
Because you're so hairy.
I had a girl one time, she said, "You look like the type of guy that would turn into a werewolf at any given minute." So, I don't know. I actually had a dream. I dreamt all summer. It was a recurring dream that I was a werewolf, so I'll just go with werewolf. I always thought werewolves were cool and everything.
The only thing about werewolves is it always looks like, in the movies anyways, that the transformation is very painful.
Yeah.
And it looks painful.
Unless you're the universal classic wolf man who would actually change clothes from when he would...
Right.
Because if you notice, Larry Talbot's wearing one outfit, but when he's the Wolf Man, he's wearing a different outfit. So
He's getting his wolfing around outfit on.
right. So he actually had the sense about him to change clothes. So.
I guess I would pick. I don't know. Maybe a vampire. I would say a vampire. Although being a werewolf would be kind of cool, but I would like to be able to turn into a bat and fly around. And the vampires are always sexy in the movies and that. So, of course, I'd probably be one. Well, I'd be alright, but I'd probably be like one of those Barlow-looking vampires. They're always hideous looking, or like Summer. What's that? 30 Days of Night. I'd probably look like one of those vampires, and they're not very attractive, but. Okay, let's see. What's the next one? Where's the scariest place you have ever been?
Scariest place I've ever been?
We're only halfway through. I don't know what. Oh, this video is definitely going to be a two-parter.
The scariest place I've ever been? Usually on a back road somewhere lost or something. Never having to do.
What about when you drove me home that night and you drove back yourself in the dark and they had X-Files music on?
Yeah, that was creepy. So that was when you and I were still dating, right?
Yeah.
Is that when I picked you up from the airport?
Yeah, when I had gone to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I took Annie. We were still just dating, and I took Annie to her cousin's out in Adrian, but there's a lot of back road country, and I picked Annie up at the airport fairly late, and then I drove her to her cousin's, and I had actually taken a CD. It was called Songs and the Sound of X, and it was basically a soundtrack inspired by the X-Files, so it automatically had creepy music and everything, and I dropped her off, and I was driving back on those country roads, and there's not a whole lot of, it's in between lights and everything, so when you're driving, it's dark, and there's a lot of empty woods and fields and everything, and I was doing one of those things where the music already had me kind of on edge, and I'd look up my rearview mirror every once in a while to make sure there wasn't something in the back seat staring back at me and everything. So that was definitely an adventure, driving back by myself.
I don't know where mine. I don't know what to say for that one. I don't know what to say for that one. Scariest place I've ever been.
But now, if it's just like where you find yourself in a place and you actually kind of start fearing for what might happen to you and everything. I've definitely been at some places where it got turned around in some back neighborhoods or places. That,
like when we were in Milwaukee trying to find a place to eat.
Yeah, that
no
was
offense against anybody that lives in Milwaukee.
Well, I mean, it was like late at night, and it's like we suddenly found ourselves in a place where, like, places were few and far between.
Yeah, it was weird.
Back neighborhoods and stuff, so.
I didn't I'll tell you a place I was scared, but it's not because it was supernatural, was when we went on that Smoky Mountain Railroad on the way, in Bryson City, City, I can't remember, in North Carolina, and then, I'm smudging, and on the way back it was dark, and we had to go across the mountain back to Sevierville, and I was very uncomfortable driving across that mountain in the dark, because we're not used to that, I was really uncomfortable with that, and I kept closing my eyes.
Well, it's because you're up so high.
Yeah, I just didn't, I don't know, I was really uncomfortable, and I was super relieved when we got back, across the mountain, and it made me feel a lot better. I was a lot happier.
It's in the daytime, though, it's beautifully scenic.
Yeah, if we did that again, I would take the early, because we took the train that left at 2 or something like that. It was like an afternoon one, so then by the time we started driving back across the mountain, it was dark, and I didn't care for that.
Man, you're up really, really high, though.
Okay, number 9. Are you scared of the dark? And if so, what scares you most about it?
No, not the dark so much. Sometimes the things that are in it, I guess, but not really the dark itself.
Yeah, I'm not scared of the dark either. I grew up in the country, so I'm used to the dark, and I don't mind the dark here, even though here it's not truly dark outside because of the street lights and everything, but I'm not afraid of the dark. I think, too, a lot of that's because of my dad. We always had the lights off because he could never see. My dad was blind anyway, so he couldn't see, so we had lights off a lot, and I kind of got used to that, so I'm not afraid of the dark. Let me see the time on that. Looks like 20. Okay, we can watch one, or we'll do one more, and then I'll start at part 2. Do you go to the toilet with the lights on or off after a scary movie? And if you have a closet, do you need to have the door fully closed to sleep?
Why would you go to the toilet with the lights off, anyways?
I always go to the bathroom in the dark. Like, if I get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I never turn the light on. I just go in the dark.
Oh.
Do you turn the light on?
I guess I never put a lot of thought into it. That would be my first instinct, is to turn the light on.
Yeah, I don't. I always go to the bathroom in the dark when it's in the middle of the night. If we've been watching a movie or something. So, like, we watch scary movies all the time. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but
I think I'm desensitized to that.
Turning the light on has absolutely nothing whatsoever with looking for things that are hiding in there.
Yeah, it's more so I don't stub. Ooh, that scared me. It's more so I don't, like, stub my toe or something. If I turn the light on, I don't want to trip over anything.
Yeah, it's more so with me. It's worrying about what I'd have to clean up the next
Oh,
day.
if you miss it. And then with the closet door is always open. Doesn't bother me. We have a big closet in our bathroom that I leave the lights on and yeah. Or off,
I will tell you something that, for whatever reason, I guess because of so many horror movies that we've seen or something, but as a closed shower curtain kind of bugs me.
Now, see, I don't mind a shower curtain closed. I actually like it, but
Yeah, I don't know. With me, it's like that one time that you don't check.
that would be it.
All right, so do you want to... We'll do a second part.
Okay.
And then because this is going to be long, and
Okay.
that way it'll be easier to upload. Okay, you guys, so we're going to do a part 2 in just a bit.